to ask questions on them, deliberate more at the end of the session.
Sure.
So these are build credibility and trust, be honest. 2, management by delegation. 3, have an international perspective. Don't just be a fish in the well, or frog in the well rather. Believe in steady and stable progress. Invest in modernization, process improvement continuously. And finally, my point, I don't need to really work at looking foolish. I am one, so yeah. Discuss half-baked ideas. This is the 6th point that he gave you an additional bonus on the 5, which is be ready to look foolish when you discuss ideas which are half-baked, which is where ideas really begin. So these are your 6 points which you can think about. How do they relate to your business? Is it possible, not possible? You can file questions at the end of this session. Now, as I said, from hard manufacturing to the soft stuff. And we have a youngster here who, though I believe you're 42, I tried calculated, yeah, right? But he doesn't look more than 30, does he? he runs over 10 kilometers, maybe 20 marathons, right? Yeah, and he wants to make Nagpur the runner city. He has taken an oath that Nagpur will have 1,000 runners, 1,000 marathoners, and there are a lot of them sitting here, I can see, who are part of his team. And he set up a club for that Orange City runners, Orange City runners. So, any of you who are interested in really building up your physical strength too, and endurance along with businesses, he's the man to go to.
Official invitation, Sunday morning, Kamti.
There you have it.
From the brigadier, you can run in the cantonment in the greens this Sunday. You guys are invited, 6:30 a.m.
Okay. That means you have to get up at 5. One quality. Alright. So, though he's set up, I will not take words from, because he's going to tell you his story. I don't have to take words from that. But most importantly, though he set up a business of, today his business in IT is worth revenues 125 crores and employs over 500 people. बढ़ गया वो बिल्कुल जो figure आपने दिया. तीसरा figure आपने दिया बताइए. So I'm sure 250 crores. 250 crores, right? Yeah. So 500 people. How many now? 750 people. And he is not from the IT background. He did his engineering in metallurgy, and then he did his again the PG US Masters again materials engineering, and he then went to IT. So anyone can become an IT player if you have that grit in you. So I will not actually talk about anything more than that.
I can start.
Yes, because he's going to narrate his entire story. Otherwise I have to pick and choose from here and tell you what it's all about. But 5 qualities that you pick. 6, wonderful. So everyone's getting a bonus here. There you go, Shashank.
Can I use this?
Yeah. Yes, sure.
All right. Thank you, Sanjay, and thank you, Mr. Bhandari. I found your speech very, very humble, and the humility with which you speak is pretty amazing for a person of your caliber, success, and character. I will admit I am not as humble. I actually like these speaking opportunities quite a bit. I enjoy them, and I like telling my story. So I will be sitting here. I will begin with sharing some things about my background, my story, then I'll build it up towards what I think have made me successful or reach where I am. I will classify them into 2 buckets, professionally and personally, because I think habits are more personal in nature. And I think before I start, how many from services business here? Okay, quite a bit. All right, so you'll find more correlation with my story because I'm more of a services guy. So to begin with, starting with my upbringing, I actually born and brought up in Bhandara in a manufacturing setup. My dad still owns, and he set up the first metallurgy unit, brass and copper utensils in 1940 something. My grandfather migrated from Haryana to set that up. So I was born and brought up in that setup.
Can I please request everyone to switch off your phones or at least put them on silent as a courtesy to the speaker and the other audience, please?
I will do that as well. So I was born and brought up in Bhandara in an industrial setup. I chose metallurgy for my engineering because of that, because all along as I was growing, I was told that one day you will inherit this princely business and you will run this factory. The only problem was that by the end of my 4th year, my dad said bad times, 1990s, industry, small scale industry not doing well, and this metallurgy ka kya hoga pata nahi. I'm going to mix Hindi, I hope it's okay. तो तुम कुछ देख लो अपना. I said, पापा थोड़ा 3 साल लेट हो गए, पहले बोलते कंप्यूटर साइंस लगे थे. But nevertheless, नहीं समझा, like a lot of confusion. How many engineers here? Oh, a lot of them. So I'm sure you were confused at some point, so क्या करें चलो MBA करते हैं. Right, that's the default answer. So I applied for MBA and, good luck, bad luck, I stood second in the whole of Maharashtra or Vidarbha, sorry, for that MBA seat of Dhanwal Bajaj, to find out that वो समय कुछ वो हो गया, and then those seats were reserved. And, one of my good friends, my uncle, he said, ये बहुत नाइंसाफी है, right, we should fight the state of Maharashtra. ये कैसे reserve कर दिया सीट उनको मिलना चाहिए था. My dad is a lawyer by training, and he said, I don't think it's a good idea, but, if you want to fight, fight, right? So at the age of 21, I fought, Shashank versus State of Maharashtra. For about 6 months, the whole tarikh by tarikh, and then eventually realized कि कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. So what to do? All engineers, they go to US. So I went to US for a master's in information systems. The idea was I'll come back. That time, materials and polymers were in vogue, right? And we said we'll make this composites and do something for the aerospace industry. We'll do something in India. And that's the hope that I went there, and then only to realize that IT was really catching up, and we had all these people from Hyderabad showing up there and doing extremely well. And I said, this sounds good. So I had the opportunity to take some courses in information systems in the US, and I sort of drifted from Jersey to IT, and I ended up joining a startup in data analytics or business intelligence that was called back then. The name of the company was called MicroStrategy. And this was a campus placement, but the whole idea of business and coming from entrepreneurial background, this whole field of data analysis, reporting, and being able to make the right decisions sort of appealed to me. Math was my favorite anyway, so it was an easy move. And that company did well, extremely well. In my second year of my joining at the age of 22, the stock options were about 2 crores. And that time, crore was big. This time talking 24 years of age. And I felt, I'm almost done. Only to realize again that, that whole stock went down. This is 2000, early 2000 crash, and that 2 crore disappeared overnight. I couldn't cash on anything. So then, whatever principles I grew up with, money was never really a big problem, and money never excited nor irritated or nor sort of dejected me. So then we came back to track, and we said, our goal in life is to set up some entrepreneurial venture. So let's use the part of the career in gaining experiences, and so that someday you can go back and start your own venture. That was the plan. So the next few years I spent about 6 years in various what you call contractual jobs to ensure that you learned the bits and pieces of what is called data analytics, intelligence, or IT. I came back in 2004 to start Infosat, which is the name of our venture, and at that point we said we'll become the best data analytics firm in the world. And we said this in 2004. We neither had access to capital, we neither had access to trained professionals, we neither had a sales team. At that point it was just me. And you can't sell in the US by sitting in Nagpur. It just doesn't work. If you have to sell, you have to be there. So, but regardless, we started, and I think that was 26, 27 years of age. When you're that young, you don't think too much, which is good, right? Because then you can jump in and you can figure it out. So that's really how my journey started. And the first few years obviously were tough. We made some calls. I ended up hiring a partner, ended up giving away 50% of my business overnight because I didn't have a sales guy, and the only sales guy I could find, he said, I want 50% of the business. I said, okay, take it, right? So then, Infosys kind of chugged along, right? People-wise, obviously, you couldn't expect data analytics professionals in Nagpur at that point, and this was my choice of location. So we said we'll create them. From day one, we sort of had this vision that we are going to create a great company, for years to come. And there was no rush. So we weren't really looking to succeed in 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, right? We just had ample time, right? So hiring people from college and training them and spending all our energies in training them just made sense. So fix that problem. Capital in the early days was basically meant if I could work myself for 8 hours a day, I could at those billing rates from US out. Everybody understands how US outsourcing business works, the whole IT industry, right? The very simple formula, right? There people are willing to pay $70 an hour, Indians are willing to work for $30 an hour, $20 an hour, 1/3 the cost. So if one person works, you can support 3 people. That's the basic fund of IT company. That's how TCS makes money. That's how Infosys makes money. Right? So that's how we kind of, overcame the initial hurdles, right? And business went along. We continue to scale, we continue to go after newer customers, continue to stay focused in our field, right? And I'll just give a glimpse of where we are today. So Infosys today, we're targeting about 225 crore revenues next year. We're about 750 people today. Our primary markets are US, obviously. About 70% business comes from there. And then Singapore is very settled for us, so Asia Pacific is what we focus on. We're looking to grow in Europe now, so we have a few customers in Europe. Fairly spread in terms of people side as well. We have a large center in Nagpur, about 500 odd people here. Rest are in Chennai, Pune and Bangalore. More in Chennai and Pune. And then obviously Singapore, all the markets that we serve, there are people there. So very, very, widely spread people network. And extremely complex and hard to monitor, retain, right, and make them successful. So if you talk about the challenge in the industry, the number one challenge that you'll talk about in IT industry, anybody knows what's the number one challenge? Right? Attrition, right? So the industry, if you can do less than 20% attrition, 18% attrition, you say it's good. Infosys has the track record of doing less than 10%. In the initial years, about 4-5%. Now by design it is about 11%, and we nailed that challenge, and that was sort of the single most important reason I would say which continues to be for our success as a company. But obviously, nailing that challenge requires you to do a lot of things, right? And one of the things that we, when you start a company at 27, 28, you don't really get the funda, gyan. You don't know a lot of things, right? So you obviously try to keep things simple. And if you're an early stage entrepreneur, if you're a mid-scale entrepreneur and you are trying to work on this attrition problems and how to attract best talent, I think the best mantra there, which works for us, and I know works for some organizations that I know very successful, is design a workplace, design a compensation package, design responsibilities, keeping you as an employee in mind. Very, very simple. So you have to make choices on kitna dein isko, what would you like? If you were that person at 3 years of experience, if you were from Ramdev Baba, or VNIT joining a company called Infosys, what would you like as your salary? If you can't make that work, then VNIT is not the college you can go to, right? So if you're designing the work packages, if you're designing, the best practices or engagement practices or workplace design something that you will feel excited. The good news for me at least was my standards are very high because I had sort of grown up in Bhandara in an industrial setup, and then I had worked in the US, which is when you talk about professional offices, professional work styles, professional work, I've seen the best of the best. So the good thing with Infosys was I had very high standards when it came to hiring employees, engaging employees, working with them, and it was so I'll give an example, right? So when I joined MicroStrategy, I was very excited because when we were trying to hire them, they took me on a helicopter tour. That's the reason I joined the company. I had offered from Oracle, Microsoft, and MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy was 1,000 times smaller than Microsoft and Oracle. They said, we'll take your helicopter tour. I said, great, this company looks good. So, we tried to emulate that. Nagpur, you can't get a helicopter now. But obviously, you make them feel special. That was the whole point, right? So then one of the things that they could do, and Alse was with me there, they would take the whole company on a cruise. Every single year, 5 days, right? 2,000 people on one single cruise, right? You can imagine, age group of 24 to 32, right? So employees are really happy. So we said, can't do a cruise in India. So Infosys started this tradition of doing employee retreats. So we said, first retreat, 2007, 8, I think, 4th year. He said, where do you want to go? And I said, put my hat. Where would I want to go in India for a retreat? He said, Goa. Okay, Goa. How would I want to go? Flight. All right. So take everybody, Goa on a flight. It was more than 2% of my revenue, that expense, that year. We did that, right? Because if you're going to do something that you can personally relate to by body, right? The tradition still continues. We'll be doing our 11th retreat in Agra this year. With about 750 people, everybody will be there, 3-4 days, right? So we still do it. A lot of people ask me, are you going to do retreat next year? Of course I'm going to do retreat next year, right? I still love my job. I want to love my job next year. So that's important. So we'll do it, right? Now we've got, so because we've got US and Singapore, so there's a Singapore retreat that happens in Bali, there's a US retreat that happens in Vegas. We do 4 retreats a year now. But, you know, so the reason I'm sharing these things, and I'm sort of harping on the point, is when it comes to success in services business, right? Your human capital is everything, right? Is everything. And all the problems, and you talked about the work labor issues, right? And he kind of owned the problem as an owner. And in our business, every services, you become the employee, you become the worker, wear that hat. And all your decisions become very simple. How many leaves to give, how many hours to work, what kind of food do you give in your cafeteria? If you can't eat it every day, then why bother? Right? So I'm working into this health routine, right? So one of the things that my employees are not going to like me about is we're going to move away from sugar. So we have about 200 liters of Coke that gets used every month. Next month it is stopping, replaced by water and charge. Right? So, you know, because that's what I am, right? So I think taking your personal things and applying at workplaces is, I think, what works best. I'll give you a snapshot of what's happening with Infosys going forward now, so that you can relate. You know, I think the whole Infosys mission is going extremely well. If you have to ever estimate our revenues, you can hear me anytime and extrapolate 10-20% growth every year, and we'll just meet that. We believe that the whole marketplace that we are in, the data analytics, right? Everybody's heard about big data, right? Yeah. So, you know that, and I'm assuming a lot of you are from manufacturing, nothing to do with big data, right? But because you know it, that's just so much buzz. So we happen to be in an industry that is extremely fast growing. It is expanding. Modi ji talks about analytics and reporting also sometimes. So it is a great place to be. So, you know, we'll continue to do well. That's I think our agenda. With that, Infosys is now opening up a new facility in Mihan. We're going to shift to Mihan in about a month's time now. It's about 50,000 square feet, one single floor plate. Our largest, office investment. Obviously, we're pretty excited about it. If some of you do visit that office, I do encourage you to visit. You will see some of the things that I'm talking about. We've been able to, make them true there. It is going to be a truly world-class facility, fun facility, with lots of open spaces to collaborate. And that sort of reflects in our commitment to our people. Coming back to what, so that's my story. Coming back to what the moderator wanted me to do, sort of summarize on what's important. So I'll begin with personal side, and then I'll relate them to examples. So personally, what I think has contributed to what I've achieved, I am an extremely good learner, and I'm shameless when it comes to asking questions. You can put me in a group of the age of Mr. Bhandari, Mr. Arora, you guys, kids, you will see the last person who will ask questions is me. I can learn from people, I can learn from just about anybody, right, at any level. I learn from books, podcasts, I learn from my customers. Whenever I go and meet my customers, I ask them questions. I learn about their businesses, I become smarter, I give them gyan, and I go back. I do learn from my fellow colleagues all the time, and that sort of learning keeps going. I do set formal learning goals for myself every year. So, this is New Year time, right? It will come January 1st. We'll make New Year resolutions. A learning resolution will be good to do. It's very easy now with books and podcasts, right? So many online sources. I think some of that theoretical learning also helps sometimes, at least in my role. So I do that quite a bit. That's number one on the personal side. Second, I think I'm extremely good at building relationships. And business leaders don't typically talk about that as a success mantra, but for me, I think it's been extremely important. And I can build relationships with people I'm trying to hire. I can build relationships with external vendors. So when vendors come, our chartered accountants, our security guy, I have personal relations with everybody, right? I know their wife's name and then kids, and then, even, I'm not saying professional relationships, I'm saying personal relationships. And a lot of people try to separate personal, profession, right? Relationships are relationships, right? And I don't know if you can have a purely professional relationship. For me, if I'm meeting a customer for the first time, If I spend more than 15 minutes with him, it will automatically go the kids' way, right? I mean, how many kids, right? And what do? Okay, they play squash, right? So I think building those relationships, at least in the people business, is very important. And I don't believe in fundas that you can't ask personal questions and you can't open up. I think whatever it takes to build those relationships is very important. Third, I think I'm high on the discipline and work ethic side. And that unfortunately sometimes flows in my personal side, but besides that, I think it has helped. I do have a schedule very far out, so I know what days in January, February, March, April, May, my calendar is booked. For every single day, I know exactly what I'm doing for about 60% of the time. I try to keep 20-30% time free for things that show up, but about 60-70% of my work day is planned, is pre-planned. I don't pick up my phone. I'm known in my circle to not pick up my phone. I just don't pick up the phone because it's a distraction. It disturbs I find it extremely annoying if I'm in a meeting and somebody calls me, or if I'm in a meeting with you, Prateek, and somebody calls you, I will take offense. I will be upset. And hence, I don't want to make anyone else upset, so unless it's my wife calling, I don't pick up. And my family knows that, they're not happy about it, but I think it is important in the profession. I think it's the profession I'm in, because I'm in back-to-back meetings, and I find it disrespectful. Meetings are, I don't know how many of you run large organizations where you have multi-location and people collaborating, but having a strict agenda for a meeting. I don't know if you follow Steve Jobs, but he once said one of the things that he did extremely well is he ran the most effective meetings. So if you're going to spend time with 30 minutes with people, you should know exactly what the agenda is. It should start on time, it should end on time. There should be a meeting minutes written, not by secretary, by you. If you call the meeting, you write the damn meeting minutes. And ensure that you account for the discussion points, you call out the action items, basics, right? Doesn't happen. I believe that one single trait, running effective meetings, can take an organization from here to here. That's the difference between a normal organization and a great organization. They value each other's time, right? On the work ethic side also, we are very good at killing. We hate rumors. We hate gossip. You can imagine we've got 750 people and people talk. These are people with brains, all engineers, right? And then there's loose talk, right? We take active steps to kill rumors. If you find somebody engaged in rumor mongering, we'll warn them, we'll tell them what the truth. People rumor and people gossip because they don't know the truth. It's extremely hard, and as transparent as you can be, right? It's extremely hard to communicate everything. Right? But you want to. But people don't ask those questions, they make their assumptions, they like to gossip. And that can kill an organization, at least in the people business. So on the work ethic side, we will find that as a bad behavior. Our HR team is trained to spot that. They come to me, hey, I heard this, okay, all right, good, so here's the reality, go back and kill it. Right? We have an active process to do it. And it's important. Right. All of this very easy to, अरे वो तो उनका लग रहा है कि इस बार TCS तो नीचे जाने वाली है. Right? This is not acceptable. You don't know, right? So if you don't know, don't gossip, go ask. Right? Go ask Chandra, right? He'll tell you. Right? TCS ऊपर जा रहा है कि नीचे जा रहा है. So that's on the personal side. On the professional side, for Infosat, I think what has worked really is sort of this resolve to build a great company from day one. So you can build a business. If your goal is to build a business, make some money, I think you don't need to be sitting down. I think in today's it's very easy to make money. You can just be a sheer investor, not do anything, just invest, play the market, you can make money, right? But if you're sitting here and you're really trying to build an organization or build a business, build a great one, right? And if you attempt to build a great one, you'll do a few things, right? A, you'll not make any short-term decisions. Right, your horizon is at least going to be mid-term, if not long-term. Right, if your business is not stable enough to think long-term, at least think mid-term. Right, you will have to define what sort of your mission is. Making Shashank successful is not going to inspire 750 people. Nobody cares. Right? Making our customers successful based on their data, helping them with the right data so that they can make the best decisions will inspire some people. Those are people in the organization. Make that clear, and then stay true to it. Then don't go build a Java application to do accounting, right? So, resolving to and being able to differentiate what's a great organization or a great company versus there's a book called Good to Great. I'm sure you read it or heard about it. It's one of the most overrated books out there, but I think it's very, very simple, and I don't think people follow half of it, even if you follow like 2% of it or 20% of it, right? Read it multiple times. It says some basic things, right? And a lot of the people in the early stages, when you read them, you'll say, "Arey, kya funda de raha hai yaar? Abhi to pata hi nahi hai wo December mein kya hoga? What are you talking about?" But I think it's something that happened with Infosys back in 2005. We actually took all of our 30 people and said, "What's our core values? What's our mission? What's our purpose? Let's document it. Let's talk about it at least once a year, right?" And we did it democratically because we are smart people. So we say, why use our brains? Use everybody's brains, right? So that I think helped. That was number one. Second, I think you have to stay focused. I find it very hard, and I have friends, right, to do multiple things at the same time. And I keep telling them that, boss, what's your goal in life? Your goal in life is to do something out of the ordinary which you will feel proud of, the one thing that you did. Then don't do 5 things. It's impossible. Yes, Tata has 5 companies or 20 companies, General Electric does, but look at what the scale is, right? They've got CEOs, they've got 30 CEOs or 100 CEOs already working for them, doing one thing, one great thing at a time. For us, it meant that, IT is a big field, right? And we've got, the big SIs, right? The names, right? They do, like needle to whatever, right? Salt to whatever, right? They do everything in IT, right? From installing your software, PC, hardware, right? Maintenance support, application development, accounting systems, HR systems. We only do data analytics. We don't do anything else. And there's been multiple, requests from customers, friends, colleagues, Shashank, we should do this. It doesn't make so much money. I said, yeah, great. No, we'll not do it. Right? We said our mission is this, and if you know that we all obviously we're in the field which has a good market, right? If you're not in the field which is going to go down, right? You know it is growing. Why are you wasting your brains anywhere else? And it's like the graph is on the other side, right? No. Just focus. Right? So extreme focus and staying true to our mission, I think really helps Infosys. I don't think Infosys would be what we are if we would have done. Today we go out to our customers and say, you know what, we don't do everything, but this one thing we do, and you can guarantee we are the best in the world. Go compare. We say that with confidence, and our customers believe that. Right? Third, I think, going back to the people, I think we were very, very serious about engaging and developing our people. This is not lip service, this is practice every day. I talked about engaging people, and the funda is to do whatever you think is right for you as an employee. But I think we put a lot of focus in the last few years in developing our people actively as well. Right? Ours is a field where, whatever you knew 15 years ago is all automatically relevant today, right? I think every 5 years in technology there's just new things happening. There's new processes, there's new businesses, and unless you have a very strong focus on training and developing your own people, and development just doesn't mean training. It is also creating new opportunities, right? We actually started our Asia Pacific business because we said our people want to work internationally, and they can't go to the US. Everybody cannot go to the US because of the strict visa regime. So we said, okay, we'll look at Singapore as a market. Singapore still is a very, very tough market. It is not a lucrative market from an IT perspective. There are actually a lot of IT companies who don't do business in Singapore. We chose to do that, and the only reason was this allows our people to develop their skills more than what they can do in India, right? There's a different, if you have any relatives, which I'm sure everybody does, who works in IT, if you ask him, what do you want to do? He said, I want to go abroad. That's the aspiration, right? And you can't meet that aspiration only with one market. There are other markets who allow that aspiration to be met. So we made a market choice based on that, right? I think that's, so staying focused on developing your people is very, very important, at least for a services business. Eventually it's all about people. So that's really the Gyan part. I don't know if it came out. But that's really the GAN part from my side. Open questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Shashank. The pin drop silence was very evocative and very clearly told us what it was all about. He gave you much more than the 5 and plus 1 bonus points. I guess for 10 points that were highlighted. More than that, the story itself was inspiring, and someone from Bhandara, a metallurgical engineer, can go abroad and do what he did. So any of you youngsters, of course, can do it. And the points, of course, be a learner, be a keen learner even today, building relationships, personal as well as professional, disciplined work ethic, strict scheduling, 1 year ahead, okay? If you want an appointment 6 months later, please apply now. Effective meetings, if you don't know how to run effective meetings, you're wasting a lot of time. And time is the stuff life is made of. No gossips, no rumors, kill it right there. And then, of course, resolve to build a great company, no shortcuts, no short-term decisions, stay focused and developing your own people if you want to build a great company. So those were the extra points that were there. So with this, both the panelists are now available. The house is open. Just do mention who you're putting the question to if you have a specific speaker in mind, or you could then have a general topic. So first of all, everyone got those 10 points very clearly. I hope the first 10 ones, etc., and then the bonuses. So yeah, now you can throw whatever questions you have. Itna सोचना पड़ रहा है.
I have a question for both of you. Both of you spoke about having a long-term perspective and not think short-term. But sometimes in businesses you have to make a pragmatic choice. It's a little maybe there's a survival question and you have to take a pragmatic call which may not be your long-term aspirations. So have you both encountered such a situation, and what did you do that time?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it sounds very easy to say long-term approach, and I think you throw a very practical question. I think the long-term aspect, at least for me, was always impacted our policy decisions, our hiring decisions. So when we are hiring somebody, it's a great match for the skill, right? But I don't think he will scale after 3 years. Don't hire him. Here's a guy who is not 100% match, is 50% there, usko sikhana padega, right? But you know what, attitude-wise, love it. Hire. So all the long-term, I'm not referring to long-term planning, unfortunately, and long-term decision making. In our business, you can't plan for more than a year. In fact, at Infosys level, I find it extremely hard to plan for more than 3 months. That's how disruptive and fast-changing IT industry is today, and especially my business, and for other reasons. So, I think the operational plan is always short-term, right? So we work with an annual plan, and you make the decisions forever. Some of the fundamental aspects of building culture, building people, mission, core values, right, which decide all your policies, I think that's where the long term comes in. Not having external investors and VCs and hawks, eyeing your balance sheet every 5 minutes also helps in making some midterm decisions at least, right? So you could take a hit on your operational profit in a year, right, and say, because I have no external pressure, I'll work low this year because I know I will bounce back next year. So those things, I think we do. That's kind of my perspective.
I think manufacturing, your question is valid, very valid. There's a lot of instances when you need to just think, okay, this is a problem, this is an emergency, and the softest answer is the quickest answer. Over a period of time, especially there's a difference of a generation between Shashank and myself, we tend to become much more calm and quiet about what happens in the business. So I always tell my children that in manufacturing, the sort of manufacturing that we are in, any given day, you will only have one piece of good news which is totally to your satisfaction. There will be 9 which will be if, but, maybe, not so nice. Learn to be calm, learn to be patient. The market is there. Some customers are good, some customers are irritated. You just have to be patient and trust yourself that you are going in the right direction. I think too much of planning is not possible, and there will always be instances when you do feel like saying, "Oh, let's shut this down, close it for the time being." In retrospect, not the right thing to do. Just have to be a bit quiet, calm, think over it, discuss within the family, discuss within your team, and I think more often than not, the right direction is felt in a few days.